What if you're in an anxious avoidant relationship? If that's the case, I'm going to give you tips on how you can self-soothe whether you're anxious or avoidant, and how to come back together as a couple, as a unit, to work through these hurdles that you may face. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment with any questions you have down below. Let's get started. So what if you're the more anxious person in the relationship? That's okay. But let's go through how this may play out in your relationships and what to actually do to start helping and moving forward instead of staying in that same toxic, unhealthy cycle. So if you're the anxious one, you're usually the one who wants to talk it out immediately. And this is usually because that silence, that period of no communication, not knowing, that to you feels like a rejection. You probably overthink, spiral a little bit, and maybe you even feel physically uncomfortable when you feel your partner or sense your partner pulling away. And what's happening here is your nervous system sees all of this as a danger zone. And that's why you crave that closeness, so that you can feel safe again in your relationship. However, you may find that the more you chase, the more your partner may pull away, the more they shut down, the worse things get. So here's what I want you to try to do instead. Number one, I want you to pause for a moment. Let's just focus on one thing, and that one thing is the facts. So I want you to start by asking yourself, what do I actually know to be true right now? Not what I'm assuming, not what I'm feeling, not where I'm filling in the blanks. What do I actually know to be true right now? Well, maybe it's that we just got into an argument, or maybe it's that we got into a disagreement. The problem becomes when we add a narrative, an entire novel, a book series, if you will, to a situation that hasn't even gone past the title page, for instance. We're adding so much context into it that probably hasn't even happened. Things from our past, we're adding into that as fear of, oh my God, this may happen to me again. We're adding in so much that we don't allow for space to recognize, okay, wait, pause. What has just happened? Factual. That's it. Keep it very plain and simple for your brain to process. These are the facts. This is what happened. Now stop there. Let's put a period behind that sentence. Once you answer that question, I want you to actually ask yourself, now, what am I assuming about the situation? And that's where the rest of the novel is going to come up for you. That's where you add in the things that you're filling in the blanks for.
Oh, I feel like they said this, or I feel like they're pulling away, or I feel like they're gonna leave me, or I know they're gonna be upset about this, I know they're gonna be mad at me.
Whatever the case is, add everything else that you're assuming. Step number 2, I want you to set a timer on your phone. Just do it. Let's work on it. We're making progress. We gotta do that through small, consistent changes. Add a timer, at least at the beginning while you're practicing this. Give yourself 20, 30 minutes before proceeding with the behavior. The problem is something triggers it, a situation happens. We then add all of our context, our fears, our shortcomings, our self-esteem issues that we have. All of these things rise up, and we put all of that energy towards the situation and make it bigger than it is. Then we feel unstable, we overthink. Does this sound familiar? What we're trying to do here is, before getting all the way over there, taking a few steps back, pausing, breathing, listening to what the facts are, and then giving ourselves time in between our reactions. That's what gets us. Whenever, as a therapist, I have couples that I work with that are anxious avoidant, this cycle continues, that there's no pause with the one who's more anxious between their thoughts, their assumptions, and then their behavior. There's no pause in between. It's just, the situation happened, these are my feelings about it, these are my thoughts, these are my fears, and boom, I act. And then afterwards, they're able to see, that was a little bit of an overreaction. I probably did too much there. I can see that now. You can see it afterwards. What we want to do is help beforehand to get you to the point where you can take a few steps back and ground yourself. And then when you're more level-headed, or when you're actually able to have a more balanced viewpoint, then address the situation with your partner. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be things that the avoidant partner should do, and then things that you both do together. So don't feel like I'm just saying all these things, that it's all your fault and there's no one else at fault here. Both sides can contribute in different ways because you guys have different attachment styles. Now, if you have the same attachment style and you want me to make a video on that and how to actually help you guys work through that, let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to do so. Let's go back to number 2. Set the timer, give yourself 20, 30 minutes, and I want you to actually do something in between that time. Whether you decide, you know what, I just need that time to just think, fine. But it would be more helpful, it would be more effective if you actually do something. Because if you take 20 or 30 extra minutes just to catastrophize, just to overthink, it's not going to work. Do something else in between. Maybe do some breathing exercises, maybe do some journaling, maybe speak to someone outside of the situation who can give you a more balanced viewpoint. Or if for you, you're saying, you know what, I have to get out of the situation in order to make that 20, 30 minutes effective, then do just that. But the point is to get your system to regulate itself again and then come to a point where you go back to the situation. The point is not to avoid. The point is to relax, calm down, breathe, and then address it with a more clear head. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to actually tell your nervous system what to do. I want you to give it a task. So do something that is engaging. So some people do the ice water plunge with their face, or they actually take a cold shower. That's great. If it works for you, cool. It doesn't always work for everybody. Maybe you could take a walk without your phone, or put your phone on do not disturb while you're on that walk and don't reach for it. Do something else that you enjoy doing. That helps to get your mind on a different set of train tracks, so to speak, so that you can actually calm your nervous system down, because that's the goal here. We're calming the nervous system before proceeding. And the last tip is I want you to talk to yourself just like you would to someone else that you respect, love, and care for. So if someone was going through a similar situation to what you're going through, what would you say to them to help them through? Maybe you would say, hey, I can tell that you're scared right now, and I'm so sorry that this is what you're going through right now, but I need you to breathe with me. Let's do it together. Inhale, hold it, and then exhale. You would give them words of encouragement. You would be there for them. You would support them. You would ask them if there's anything that they need from you to help. This is what I want you to do for yourself. I don't need you to give yourself positive mindset talking. I don't want you to do that, because a lot of times that can feel forced or unauthentic, especially when you're in the thick of the emotion. However, I do want you to talk to yourself honestly, openly, but with grace as well. Now, what if you're the avoidant one? You're not necessarily anxious, but you're more avoidant. Here are a few tips for you that I want you to try. After I'm done giving you your tips, then we're going to go to what you both can do together as a team, as a couple, as a unit. Let's start with my avoidance. If you're the avoidant one, more than likely you shut down, you need your space, and you may feel emotionally backed into a corner, so to speak, whenever you may feel that someone needs or requires a little too much from you. And you're not trying to be cold, you're honestly just trying to survive or overcome the situation at hand. So what's happening here is that the emotional intensity that's happening in the room, well, this feels like pressure, it feels like a threat to your safety in the moment. And so your central nervous system is also acting up and acting out. And over time, you might have learned to protect yourself through the avoidance, through backing away. And this is not because you don't care. That's the misconception that a lot of people have if they don't understand this attachment style. Or you're pulling away, or you're wanting to leave. That's because you don't care. And in some situations that may be true, but in others, it's mostly because you feel out of control. You have no control here. You have no ability to dictate what's going on. You're emotionally overloaded and you have to go. There is no option. Internally, everything is screaming to you, get out. It's too much. It's not worth it. Run, abort. That's what's happening. But here's what I want you to do instead. Number one is I want you to really work on not ghosting. Everything inside of you is going to tell you to run, to flee, to leave. I want you to not listen to this part of you. Now, if you're in an actually dangerous situation or in a toxic, abusive environment, then of course, this is something totally different. We're talking about situations where you're in a relationship and you're both making an effort to really learn about your attachment styles and to both of you get to a more securely attached place, not abuse and not toxicity. So what I want you to do is in those moments where you start to feel it rising in you of that fear of that, I gotta go. Instead, I want you to tell your partner verbally and clearly, hey, I need 30 minutes. I gotta get myself together. I gotta think about this. I need a moment. I need a breather. I need a break, but I will come back, and put a time frame on it. The reason why I want you to be specific with your partner is because if your partner is more anxious, that time frame will help them to learn they needed this time. They're giving me a specific time. They are going to come back because they've said this and they've kept their word, even if it's difficult for them. So I need to give them that space. But it starts by you telling them, I need some time. This is a specific amount of time I need. And then coming back. And you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to say, oh, I gotta breathe, I gotta do grounding exercises, I gotta just think about this, I feel this way. Nope, don't get into all that. Just ask for the time, be specific about the time, and go. Keyword, come back to the conversation. Don't come back and act like nothing happened. Don't come back and say, you know what, all is well that ends well. Let's just move on and act like nothing happened. No, The goal would be to come back and talk about the situation because you're in a relationship. So it's not just you. It's two people actively, hopefully, working on bettering themselves and the relationship. So the goal is to come back and actually talk about it and work through it and then move forward. Next, really, really want you to work on breathing. I want you to work on breathing like it is a homework that will determine whether you pass or fail a midterm exam or a class. And there are several types of breathing exercises that you can do. You can do box breathing, breathing in for 5 seconds, holding it, breathing out for 7 seconds. There's so many different techniques. You can even Google it. Easy Google search. But learn how to practice breathing. Breathing helps regulate your nervous system. Breathing helps to bring more oxygen to your brain so that you can think clearly and not behave out of anxiety or fear. Next, I want you to use and include some of the rational thinking process or logic in order to sort of reset your emotional state. So here's what I mean. I want you to ask yourself, what is being asked of me right now? Is my partner just asking to feel secure and safe and loved? Am I reacting out of fear from my past, out of trauma? And I want you to practice answering honestly, because this can stop you from going on sort of an emotional autopilot mode where you're just confused, overloaded with emotions, and just wanting to shut down and shut out. So if you need space, that space should be respected by you and your partner. But take that space with a plan and communicate clearly with your partner so that they're able to more easily respect your wishes in that moment. Don't say, I don't know, and then just go ghost. This will do more harm and more damage. Even if you don't mean to, that's creating more damage and more hurt. Let's talk about what you both can do together. So when you come back together, I want you to both acknowledge, this is where I'm at. So if you're the more anxious one, this is where I'm at. These are my thoughts. This is my fear. This is why this happened. I've had time to process this. Now, there's no accusing here. There's no,
Oh, you did this, and you never, and you always.
Shut it down. Shut it down. You're going to lose them. So I'm going to give you your script. Here you go. Right now, I'm feeling blank. I apologize for my reactions of fill in the blank. Instead, I was hoping that maybe we could blank. I am open to listening and understanding where you're coming from and recognizing that I may not have all of the answers or know everything that was going on. So I want to know from you, and then listening to your partner. How you let your partner know that you heard them is by repeating to them what you heard them say. We do this in couples therapy a lot. So if your partner is speaking, you stay quiet and you listen. You don't come up with a rebuttal in your head. You don't interrupt them while they're sharing their thoughts with you. You wait, you listen, and then once it's your turn, you let them know, this is what I heard you say. Say it. And then you ask, is that correct? Did I miss anything? And then wait for them to answer. They'll respond with, nope, you got everything, that's good. They know you heard them. Or they'll say, you got most of it, but you missed this part. And then you say, I got it. So you were saying this, but you also said this. Do I have that right yet? Then once they say yes, then you're able to know they were heard. Now it's my turn. It gives room for understanding that your partner is your partner. You guys are a unit, a team, not against each other, with each other. So you've got to work together. And if you're not in couples therapy already, it may be really beneficial to you and your partner. So you should consider one if you're interested in that. Number 2, this is super important. I want you both to set and agree on a rule. And that is, if we are both emotionally charged, no one gets to fix it until we're both more calm. Think of it like a timeout and instead say, okay, if you're angry and I'm heated, we're not going to solve anything. So let's take a beat. You go in your corner, I'll go in my corner, so to speak, metaphorically. And then when we're both good, we'll come back together and we'll talk about this. We'll resolve this and then we'll move forward. Now, the most important rule after this is that after the dust has settled, after you've resolved, come to an understanding, an agreement, I want you to do something nonsensical. I want you to do something fun. I want you to do something silly for about 5 minutes afterwards. The reason why you want to try this is because there is tension. Even after you've decided to resolve things, sometimes there's lingering tension of like, oh, that was a difficult conversation. Oh, I kind of felt all my feelings and now I'm not feeling them as much, but I feel bad for my reaction. There's a lot going on still. So instead, I want you guys to watch a funny video together, decide to have a drink together, open a can of Coca-Cola or your favorite warm drink or whatever the case is, and just sit there together. Maybe be around pets if you have pets. Hang around them for a little bit. A lot of times the connection between pets and your mental health, it's a positive one. So that could help as well. But do something that's going to take the edge off a little bit. And this reconnection part, it doesn't need a speech. It's just a shift in your energies. Now, what happens if one of the partners refuses to even try to work on things or try some of these techniques? Well, if one person is always chasing and the other person is always disappearing and neither one is willing to change, then your relationship is going to continue to feel like an emotional whiplash back and forth. I'm pushing, I'm falling. And this is because repairing any relationship requires both partners to take full accountability for their actions, their mistakes, their wrongdoings first, before attempting to point a finger at their partner, or even before attempting to try to work on it. And the last thing I'll say is that self-soothing is not about pretending, oh, everything's fine, everything's great. No, it's about calming your nervous system so that you can have a clear head, think more clearly, more objectively, more balanced, and be open to where your partner is also at. We want to get out of the habit of just reacting to everything that comes our way. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any other questions or video requests, let me know as well, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.